The sky was torn apart by the arrival of the Galactic Armada, a massive fleet of warships that blotted out the sun. Earth's defense systems roared to life, but it was like throwing pebbles at a tidal wave. The alien ships were sleek, black monstrosities, bristling with weapons beyond human understanding. Ground forces scrambled to fire anti-air missiles, but they were met with energy shields that shimmered and swallowed everything in their path. Desperation spread like wildfire through the ranks of Earth's defenders as the invaders pressed their advantage. One by one, Earth's cities crumbled. London fell first, its skyline reduced to ash in a matter of minutes. In New York, the iconic skyscrapers were incinerated by plasma beams that cut through steel and stone as though they were paper. Tokyo vanished in a blink, vaporized by orbital bombardments. The human population watched in horror, their efforts to fight back swallowed by the sheer technological superiority of their attackers. Satellites were knocked out, military command centers decimated, and still the Armada pressed on, relentless in its annihilation. From the bridge of the lead alien warship, a high-ranking commander, eyes cold and calculating, surveyed the devastation below. His lips curled into a slight smile as he listened to the reports, city after city falling, Earth's defenses buckling under the weight of the invasion. The Earthlings had put up a decent fight, but their efforts were futile. His voice echoed through the command room, addressing his subordinates with chilling detachment. Primitive. Their resistance is commendable, but ultimately pointless. A waste of resources. The alien leaders exchanged smug glances, each more confident than the last. To them, this was a routine conquest. Earth, like so many other worlds before it, had fallen without any real threat. The technological gap between their species and humans was insurmountable. For centuries, they had dominated the galaxy, and Earth was simply another mark on their endless campaign of control. The humans, foolish, defiant, would now be nothing more than a conquered race. The commanders spoke with casual disdain, broadcasting messages of victory to their home worlds, confident that they had wiped out any meaningful resistance. But there was one last stronghold, buried deep in the mountains of what remained of Earth's defense network. There, the last coordinated effort of the human military tried to regroup, though their communications were scrambled, and supplies were dwindling. Every second felt like a death sentence. In their command bunker, Earth's final leaders gathered around the flickering map, watching in real time as the alien forces surrounded their location. When the final line of defense broke, it wasn't with a bang, but with silence. Earth's leaders were captured or killed, one by one, until the chain of command was in complete disarray. The aliens made sure the galaxy knew of their triumph. Holographic broadcasts streamed across every remaining human channel, declaring Earth officially conquered. Alien ambassadors stood proudly before their people, recounting the ease of their victory, the effortless destruction of a world that had dared to resist. The Armada pulled back into low orbit, fleets regrouping, commanders celebrating their efficient conquest. The remaining alien forces patrolled lazily, their routine slackening as they settled into the comfortable rhythms of occupation. They had done this countless times before. There was no reason to believe Earth would be any different. But not all was as it seemed. In the background, small pockets of human resistance quietly persisted. Ruins smoldered, but the fire of defiance had not been fully extinguished. A few key survivors, hardened, relentless, managed to slip through the cracks, sending out encrypted messages, rallying what little remained of Earth's forces. The aliens ignored these faint signals, dismissing them as the last flickers of a dying flame. They saw no threat here, no reason to be concerned. In their arrogance, the aliens celebrated their victory, convinced the humans had nothing left. They had no idea what was coming next. In the dark depths of the oceans, far below the reach of alien sensors, Earth's final hope stirred to life. Deep within concealed bases, dormant systems hummed and whirred as ancient commands finally reached their destination. These bases, hidden for years beneath the crushing weight of water and rock, were now teeming with activity. Engineers and technicians, survivors of the alien onslaught, moved with precision as they brought long-buried weapons online. These were not ordinary ships, they were dreadnoughts, colossal war machines designed for a day that had finally come. The surviving human commanders gathered in makeshift war rooms, communicating through secure, encrypted channels. Their faces were lined with exhaustion, but their eyes gleamed with a fierce determination that had not been dulled by Earth's earlier defeat. They had expected this: the fall of the cities, the capture of their leaders, the broadcasts of alien victory. All of it had been calculated into their final gambit. As long as the Dreadnoughts remained hidden, humanity had a chance. "Begin the sequence," one of the commanders ordered, his voice steady. Around him, screens lit up with data as systems that had been idle for decades came to life. The room vibrated with the low hum of power as the machines began to awaken. These dreadnoughts were more than just warships. They were Earth's last line of defense, armed with weapons that even the most advanced alien technology couldn't anticipate. Humanity's best minds had designed them in secret, away from prying eyes, using a combination of brute force and human ingenuity. Massive cannons capable of firing energy blasts, advanced shielding systems, and stealth technology that could mask their presence even from the most sophisticated alien sensors. Everything had been built with one goal in mind: a final stand, an endgame strategy that could turn the tide of a seemingly lost war. As the commanders looked over the data feeds, they spoke quietly amongst themselves. They knew what was at stake. "The aliens think they've won," one of them said, his lips curving into a tight smile. "They have no idea what's coming." There was no bravado, no empty confidence, just the cold, hard reality of their situation. The Dreadnoughts were their last, best hope, and they couldn't afford to fail. Each commander, having lost friends, family, and entire cities, remained focused on one simple truth: the fight was far from over. The first dreadnought broke through the surface of the ocean, displacing massive amounts of water as it ascended. It was a behemoth, dwarfing even the largest ships in the alien fleet. Its surface, gleaming with armor designed to absorb and deflect energy attacks, glistened under the harsh light of Earth's atmosphere. This was a ship built for one thing: war on an unprecedented scale. As more dreadnoughts emerged from their hiding places beneath the oceans, others rose from hidden orbital defense grids, long-dormant satellite stations igniting into life. The scale of the operation was breathtaking. Each ship was a symbol of humanity's resilience and tenacity, built in secret and kept hidden even from Earth's own population. The aliens, despite their overwhelming forces, had completely missed the existence of these titanic war machines. From the bridge of the lead dreadnought, human officers worked with grim efficiency. The crew moved in perfect sync, knowing their window for attack was slim. The alien armada, still basking in their supposed victory, remained scattered and unprepared for what was about to happen. Earth's counteroffensive had begun. "Target coordinates locked," one of the officers reported. The dreadnought's main cannon, a weapon larger than any human warship, rotated into position. This was a weapon that had been designed to break through the strongest alien shields, capable of unleashing devastation on a scale no one had ever seen. In the stillness of space, the dreadnoughts launched into orbit, each one moving with calculated precision. They remained hidden for as long as possible, cloaked from alien sensors, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Every move, every calculation had been meticulously planned. Earth had only one shot at this. If they failed, there would be no second chance. As the dreadnoughts made their way into position, the human commanders observed the alien fleet from their hidden command centers. "Let them think they've won," one of them murmured, watching as the alien warships drifted lazily through space, unaware of the doom that was rising beneath them. The dreadnoughts were now in play, and the galaxy would soon learn that Earth was far from defeated. The time for humanity's final stand had come. The calm that had settled over the Galactic Armada shattered in an instant. Without warning, a massive energy beam tore through the dark void of space, ripping into the hull of an alien flagship. The ship, once a symbol of invincible power, buckled under the force, its shields evaporating in a split second before it exploded into a bright, silent inferno. For the first time, the alien commanders felt fear. Across the Armada, the same scene played out. Earth's dreadnoughts had emerged from nowhere, colossal war machines armed with weapons the galaxy had never seen. Their cannons unleashed devastation with surgical precision, each shot calculated to inflict maximum damage. The alien ships, once sleek and indomitable, now resembled fragile toys being crushed under the weight of this unexpected assault. Inside the alien command ships, chaos reigned. Officers scrambled to make sense of the reports flooding in. Fleet formations crumbled, lines of communication became garbled, and the overwhelming sense of control the aliens had so proudly displayed just hours earlier was gone. How could this be happening? One alien commander gasped, watching in disbelief as the dreadnoughts picked off their ships one by one. The commanders, once so sure of their superiority, now fumbled for answers, their confidence crumbling like their fleet. The human dreadnoughts moved with terrifying efficiency. Each one was a fortress of destruction, gliding through the alien lines as if they were hunting prey. Their massive cannons fired relentlessly, targeting key enemy ships, tearing through shields that had once seemed impenetrable. Smaller human vessels, agile and fast, darted between the dreadnoughts, capitalizing on the chaos. Where Earth's defenses had once seemed weak and disorganized, now they fought with a ferocity and precision that shattered any illusion of alien dominance. Alien commanders tried desperately to regroup, issuing orders in frantic bursts. "Fall back! Regroup!" The commands echoed through what was left of their fleets, but there was no structure left to salvage. Communication channels flickered with static, and some ships received no orders at all. The dreadnoughts had already begun targeting alien command ships, cutting off the head of the Armada. Entire battalions were left leaderless, their captains obliterated in mere moments, their remaining forces scattering in confusion. One alien captain, staring at the wreckage of what had been his flagship, muttered in disbelief. "How did we miss this? How did they hide such power?" There were no answers. The Armada had grown complacent, blinded by arrogance and their overwhelming numbers. They had thought they knew everything about humanity. They had believed the battle was over before it even began. Now they were the ones being hunted. As more alien ships fell, panic spread like wildfire. Commanders barked conflicting orders, ships collided in the chaos, and what had once been a unified force now resembled a panicked swarm. The human dreadnoughts pressed their advantage, firing with unrelenting force, decimating alien formations and pushing them further and further out of Earth's orbit. Every explosion, every crackling energy beam, was a reminder to the invaders that they had underestimated the resilience of their enemy. The alien commanders who still survived found themselves trapped in a nightmare. Every strategy they had relied on for centuries, every tactic that had ensured their dominance, was rendered useless in the face of these behemoth human warships. The dreadnoughts weren't just weapons, they were a statement. Humanity was no longer the helpless victim of the galaxy's might. They had turned the tables, and now the hunters were becoming the hunted. The human commanders observed the battle with cold precision, directing their forces with a calm that belied the violence unfolding in space. Each dreadnought maneuvered with the precision of a scalpel, cutting through the alien lines, isolating key ships, and leaving them vulnerable to destruction. It wasn't just brute force, it was strategy, honed over years of preparation. Humanity had always been adaptable, and now that adaptability was on full display. The alien fleet, so sure of their victory, was now in tatters. Once dominant warships floated aimlessly, their engines crippled, their crews scattered or dead. The few remaining alien commanders who still had control over their vessels ordered full retreat, their voices tinged with the bitter realization that they were no longer in control of this battle. As they tried to flee, the dreadnoughts pursued, unrelenting. Earth wasn't just fighting back, they were winning. The tide of the battle had turned. The Galactic Armada, once an unstoppable force, was now reduced to a panicked, disorganized mess scattered across the battlefield. The aliens had come to Earth expecting an easy conquest. Instead, they found a force more powerful than they had ever anticipated. And as the human dreadnoughts closed in for the kill, the galaxy would soon learn that Earth was not a prize to be taken. It was a predator, and it had only just begun to fight. The human commanders knew that brute force alone wouldn't be enough to win this war. The alien armada, Though shaken, still vastly outnumbered their forces and possessed superior technology. But humanity had something else, a deep understanding of fear. War wasn't just about firepower, it was about control, and nothing broke control faster than doubt and panic. In the hours following the initial assault, the humans began to deploy their next weapon, psychological warfare. From deep within their command centers, teams of cyber experts and military strategists launched a new kind of attack. First, they hacked into the alien fleet's communication systems. Alien commanders who were already struggling to organize a defense found their channels disrupted, filled with misleading information. False orders were issued, ships were directed to the wrong coordinates, and entire fleets were sent chasing shadows. Human ships would appear on alien sensors in one sector, only to vanish moments later. The Dreadnoughts, already wreaking havoc, became ghosts in the night, always there, but never where they were expected. The aliens began to see them everywhere, a looming threat that seemed to multiply with each passing moment. In reality, there were only a few Dreadnoughts, but the humans made it seem like there were countless more. Inside the alien command ships, tension reached a breaking point. Commanders were receiving conflicting reports. Some claimed they had spotted multiple Dreadnoughts in one region, others insisted their systems were malfunctioning. Alien crews began to doubt their own instruments, unsure of what was real and what was a trick. The precision with which the humans struck, combined with their ability to disappear just as quickly, gave the impression of an enemy far larger and more coordinated than the aliens had ever anticipated. "Where are they?" An alien commander barked, his voice tinged with frustration as he scanned the holoscreens in front of him. His officers, equally bewildered, could only shake their heads. Sensors flickered, ships disappeared from the grid, and then, another attack. This time, the humans struck from behind, targeting a crucial fuel depot, crippling a vital part of the fleet's supply chain. Every hit was deliberate, designed to chip away at the Armada's already fragile morale. To add to the chaos, humans spread disinformation among the alien ranks. Through their hacked channels, they planted rumors of a massive Earth fleet on the way, an overwhelming force that would wipe them out if they didn't retreat immediately. The psychological strain was beginning to show. Alien crews, already rattled by the sheer force of the Dreadnoughts, now whispered among themselves, questioning their leadership, their orders, and even the integrity of their own sensors. Panic began to spread. In the midst of the confusion, a coordinated strike took out one of the alien fleet's most important command ships. It was a ship that had held together one of the largest alien battalions, and with its destruction, the ripple effect was immediate. The surrounding ships, leaderless and without clear orders, descended into chaos. Ships fired erratically, some even retreating without permission, while others drifted aimlessly, waiting for orders that would never come. The human commanders watched all this unfold with cold satisfaction. Every strike was precise, every move calculated not just to inflict damage, but to create the maximum amount of uncertainty. The Dreadnoughts would appear, destroy, and vanish, only to reappear where they were least expected. The psychological toll was as devastating as the physical one. On one alien ship, a captain sat in silence, staring at the endless reports of attacks and retreats. His once fearsome fleet had been reduced to a scattered, confused mass, unsure of what to do or who to trust. "It's impossible," he muttered to himself, his mind racing to make sense of the chaos. "They can't have that many ships." But deep down, even he wasn't sure anymore. The humans had turned their fear against them, and now it was spreading like wildfire. As more command ships fell, the disarray among the alien forces grew. Each alien commander, once part of a cohesive whole, now found themselves isolated, cut off from reliable information and surrounded by enemies they couldn't see or predict. Every move they made felt like a misstep, every decision was second-guessed. Orders were ignored or misinterpreted, and ships that had once operated with ruthless efficiency were now little more than disorganized rabble. The human Dreadnoughts, continuing their relentless assault, seemed to be everywhere at once. Alien commanders, desperate to regain control, issued orders to fall back and regroup, but there was no longer a clear path to safety. The Dreadnoughts would strike wherever the aliens tried to form defensive lines, shattering any attempt at reorganization. The more the aliens struggled to regain control, the more they fell apart. Fear became their greatest enemy. Alien ships, still powerful and capable, now hesitated at every turn, their crews paralyzed by the uncertainty that had been carefully orchestrated by the human commanders. It was a masterful strategy. The humans had not just outgunned them, they had outthought them. And now, the Galactic Armada, once an unstoppable force, was on the verge of collapse, not because of the weapons fired against them, but because of the seeds of doubt planted in their minds. By the time the humans unleashed their next wave of attacks, it was clear the battle was no longer just about ships and weapons. The aliens were fighting their own fear, and they were losing. The final moments of the battle arrived with the alien armada desperately trying to pull back. Their retreat, however, was already anticipated. The human dreadnoughts, larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen, cut off the escape routes with precise movements, hemming the remaining alien ships and like prey surrounded by hunters. The Galactic Coalition, once so confident in their dominance, was now fragmented, its scattered ships incapable of mounting any coordinated resistance. From across the galaxy, those watching the battle unfold could hardly believe their eyes. What was supposed to be a swift and easy victory over Earth had turned into a nightmare for the Armada. News of Earth's triumph spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves throughout every alien government and military power. The image of Earth, once thought of as a backward, defenseless planet, was forever altered. In just a few short hours, humanity had risen from near extinction to becoming one of the most feared forces in the galaxy. Alien leaders, each watching from their secure locations far from the battlefield, were forced to confront the magnitude of their failure. They had grossly underestimated Earth. When they had first gathered their armada, they had mocked the idea that humanity could offer any real resistance. Earth was supposed to be another conquest, a stepping stone in the Coalition's expansion. But they hadn't anticipated humanity's resilience, its hidden technology, or its ability to strike back when pushed to the brink. In the closing moments of the battle, human commanders executed their final maneuvers with precision. The last of the alien ships, battered and broken, either surrendered or were obliterated by the unrelenting firepower of the Dreadnoughts. For those that managed to escape, retreat became a scramble for survival, their fleets shattered and morale destroyed. The galaxy had watched Earth stand on the edge of defeat, only to witness a reversal that no one had thought possible. Within the remains of the alien fleet, the weight of the miscalculation settled in. Alien commanders, once so full of confidence, now realized they had been outmatched in every way that mattered. They had brought their most powerful ships, their most advanced technology, and their most seasoned warriors, but none of it had been enough. The humans had been preparing all along, waiting for the right moment to strike, and when they did, it was decisive. The aliens paid the ultimate price for their arrogance. As the battle ended, the human dreadnoughts stood as symbols of humanity's newfound strength. Once hidden beneath oceans and deep within planetary defenses, these colossal warships now returned to Earth in triumph. Their presence alone had been enough to change the course of the war, and their legacy would be etched into the galaxy's memory forever. Back on Earth, the victory was met with both relief and reflection. The cost of the war had been immense, with cities destroyed and millions of lives lost. But in the end, humanity had survived, and more than that, they had proven that they could not only defend their home but strike back against the most powerful forces the galaxy had ever assembled. The Dreadnoughts, once Earth's last secret, had become the face of human resilience, a reminder to any who might threaten them again. Across the galaxy, the alien coalition was left in ruins. The loss of their fleets and commanders created fractures in their once unstoppable alliance. The political and military repercussions were immediate. Governments that had once been united in their desire to conquer Earth were now pointing fingers, blaming one another for their disastrous defeat. The coalition, once a symbol of galactic dominance, was now a collection of divided, weakened factions. For humanity, this victory came with new responsibilities. Earth was no longer an isolated world on the fringes of galactic politics. They were now a recognized power, a force to be reckoned with. The galaxy's leaders, once dismissive of the humans, now spoke of them with respect and, in some cases, fear. Diplomats from distant worlds would soon make their way to Earth, not with demands of surrender, but with offers of alliances and trade. The humans had earned their place among the stars. The consequences of Earth's victory would ripple through the galaxy for generations. The once dominant alien races were now on the defensive, wary of the rising power that was humanity. The Dreadnoughts had not only crushed the alien Armada, but they had shattered the illusion of galactic superiority. And with that, the galaxy's balance of power shifted. Humanity, once seen as weak, was now feared and respected in equal measure. In the aftermath, as the Dreadnoughts settled back into their secret strongholds and the remaining human forces returned to rebuild their shattered cities, there was a shared understanding that Earth had changed. The battle had not just been about survival, it had marked the beginning of something greater. The galaxy now knew that humans were not to be underestimated, and any future challengers would approach Earth with far more caution. The galaxy had seen Earth defeated, only to watch its enemy rise from the ashes stronger than before. The alien Armada thought they had won, but in the end, it was humanity that had claimed victory, and with it, a new chapter in galactic history had begun.